Hello, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another guest episode of the Strategy and Soul podcast. Today, I'm so excited to speak with a fellow Australian woman and a leader of the light. Myra Medhurst has an impressive bio, so I'm going to skim it. Just bear with me. She's literally remembered a lot of her past lives and souls from Atlantis and Lemuria from the age of 4 years old. Has done over 4,300, probably almost more, soul highest mission readings now. So a lot about helping people find out what their life purpose is, getting them into soul remembrance and leading them on the golden path. So tell us a little bit more about why and how this even started for you, being super spiritual your entire life, and then getting into university after leaving school for business management. Like, what has been going on for you to lead you on your golden path?
Yeah, good morning, Danica, and thank you. Warm hello to all your viewers and listeners. Yeah, the story of my life is bridging both worlds, essentially. So, correct, I had very, very spiritual experiences from a young age. And the year was actually, I'm giving my age away here, but it was 1986, and it was when Halley's Comet was flying over Australia. We were all outdoors. My parents were having a costume party,
Cool.
and the kids were allowed to stay up late. We're allowed to stay up late. So we were all playing in the front yard and playing hide and go seek. And I remember just having a moment of stillness when all of my friends had kind of left me, and I was out in nature gazing up at the night sky. And I just began to deeply meditate and surrender into the stars of the night sky. And it was this, the stars started speaking to me. This is like the easiest way I can describe it. But I literally heard the essence of the star begin to talk inside my body. Now, did I have the words as a 4-year-old to articulate the experience? No, I did not. But as later down in my life, I realized, oh, okay, that is actually what was happening. You're right. So after high school, I started a business degree, and I knew that I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I was a rebel. I wanted to play against the rules or outside of the rules or kind of create my own rules. And that kind of took me on the entrepreneurial journey. But I have to say, all of that was set to the backdrop of having these very mystical experiences. I hadn't been exposed to yoga yet as a teenager. I came from a very normal, mainstream family. So I didn't have, I guess, models or representations of my inner landscape. I just kind of fumbled along, is really the truth. I fumbled along with how I was feeling inside. And then it got to a point, a crescendo, of when I could not deny it anymore. And it actually happened when I was living with my brother at uni. And I was really lost, really, really confused, very unhappy. I'd say mildly depressed. And I found a book on his bedside table, and it was the Celestine Prophecy. And thank God for finding that book. And it's so interesting because my brother does not remember having ownership of that book at all. I was like, no, dude, I found it on your bedside table. It's real. Anyway, I read the book and I just streamed tears and tears and tears because for the first time in my life, I had my inner feelings mirrored out in a book. And I'd never, ever had this level of recognition before. And then that was the catalyst for me to begin to really delve deeper into, okay, what is actually happening? What are these remembrances? What are these psychic abilities? How do I actually perceive reality? And I realized, oh, not everyone was doing it. Not everyone could see what I was seeing. Not everyone felt life the way that I felt and interacted with life. And then that actually was like the biggest turning point for me. And then it's just been a steady journey, peaks and troughs, but just a real steady chipping away at, the self-transformational process. That led me into personal development. It led me into spiritual development. It led me into women's mysteries work, yoga, the teachings of ancient India and the East. Yeah. The
It's so
working of
much.
crystals,
Yeah.
so much. It's just like, I had so many questions for the universe. Like, why am I here? What is this whole game about? Who am I? Why am I born into this family? They still really do, I mean, they appreciate what I do, but they don't know the ins and outs of what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be quite difficult, I think, for people to ascertain the complexities. They want to understand it, but it's so far removed from their frequency that they're like, yeah, we've always known you to be a little stranger. And it's kind of like the way that that society, even not just our families, but they want to make that separation of, well, you're over there and this is how you think and perceive the world, and we know that that's slightly different. But instead of really working to expand that in us and amplify that in us throughout actionable steps and tangible things, especially in our teenage lives. Like, you know, you go through this puberty cycle and there's all these hormones, but with that, we start tapping into these monthly cycles of how a woman's body actually works on a cellular level, with the cleansing and the release. And then if you're a moon woman, then you'll be focusing on setting intentions and releasing. But we're doing all of these things naturally. And I love that you said, as that 4-year-old, you were in a deep meditation and you felt the stars and the frequency of that speaking through you, which now obviously you've come to know that it was a cellular remembrance of those things growing up. And other people just don't really understand it to the complexities of what it is, I believe, until they've experienced parts of it for themselves and they get into that awakening journey. Have you found that you've been able to trigger those people in your family unit into a bit more of an awakening as you've gone along, or is that still something that's a bit separate?
Yeah, 1,000% I have. And it's not that I go seeking that. And
Yeah.
I have to say, it's like on the journey, the pendulum swings. It's like I've actually now, there's a level of maturity where the pendulum wants to find its center again. And so I'm more interested now in, like, what is my level of presence? What is my level of capacity to hold the whole range and release myself from self-judgment and release others from judgment? So it's like wherever someone is on that landscape of their level of consciousness is completely perfect. And so that is so freeing and liberating to just meet humanity where they are at. And so I'd say my level of maturity has grown even more, that I can have deep love and deep compassion for my parents, for my brother, for my sister. And they are actually like the most triggering people in my life. That's why I'm born into that family, yeah?
Yeah.
And so holding it as a beautiful, like, sacred, each of those family members, everyone I meet, every client, everyone that likes a YouTube post or a Facebook post, they are all pointing me back to my own awakening. Every
Yeah.
single person is. And so, yeah, there is where I mean, I remember when I kind of declared to my family that I was now a vegetarian, and this seems so like normal now. But like over 2 decades, it was a really big deal for my family. Like they just did, my mum was like, I don't know what to cook her. Like, what do we do when we have dinner parties? It's like dad owns the barbecue. And it's like he's now losing his mind because he doesn't know, and he's concerned about what other people will think of him. I'm like, this is just a dietary choice. And it
Yeah.
was a massive, explosive.
Yeah, like a trigger point for
Yeah,
generational healing. Like we can look at it
correct.
from the positive side of it now and we're like, oh yeah, okay. So there's things in those generations that obviously had to shift in those expansive ways to accept other beings how they are, and just know that our souls are on a path of remembering what is true for our essence, and then that let that be enough.
Yes. And now my brother's a physiotherapist. You know what, Danica? It's so extraordinary. He's feeling the electricity move now when he manipulates, and he's a healer. He's absolutely a healer, my brother. But he's gone through the traditional methods of science and physiotherapy. Very, very talented. But as he holds and just cradles either like a shoulder to bring it back into harmony, Yeah, he feels the electricity run through and the body release back into the remembrance of where the shoulder wants to sit. He breaks out in a sweat now.
Yeah, so
I'm
he's
like, I'm
seeing the
saying to my
physical
brother, I'm like,
symptoms.
you're an energy healer.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I'm an advanced pranic healer. I'm like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So it's like just seeing things through all different lenses. We're actually here all with a beautiful piece of the puzzle, holding our signature. And judging another thinking that they're doing it right or that they're further along in the ascension process.
Or higher above, like,
Oh my
yeah, that
God, that is
whole lower higher
delaying.
thing. Oh,
Correct.
I'm like, okay, but all of these timelines are literally horizontal. They're
Yes.
not before or after. If the time actually collapses and people could see it from an energetic landscape as opposed to a hierarchy, I think a lot of ego would shift in that sense where they're no longer afraid that they're not enoughness, because that's often why we're judging someone else that, oh, they're further ahead, which means something about me. And they'll create extra stories that they believe in, and it kind of spirals. And so how did this link all into getting into a business blueprint for you to bring it home as I'm going to create a space, because there's a lot of space that you've created for other people to meet monthly in your temple, and you've obviously held true to that core frequency to attract and align with the masculine figure in your life as your husband now, Ben. And so, and he's come in and said, hey, all right, let's build this thing. And he's brought that vision to life for you. And then you've birthed a child also into this world, which is amazing and such a gift. Like, just can you speak about that next level of transformation where you've attracted the partner and then amplified it into a business?
Yeah, and what a journey that is. And it's like, you know, where the essence of that is really tapping into my level of conviction, my level of power. That was a massive journey for me, is the level of power I could hold in my cellular structure again. Am I willing to receive my magnificence in the light? Because it's very easy to do this in the shadows. Yeah, it's easy to be spiritual in the closet, not declare it to anyone. It's easy to have little micro levels of success and kind of just shun away from your next evolutionary step. So a huge amount came down to claiming these remembrances, that they are real and they are true. And you got so close before. It's like when all of those timelines and everyone's like, they stack upon each other and they actually collapse. They're all running simultaneously now. So my Atlantean lives now, I don't view them as a past life experience. Dude, that stuff is happening now.
Yeah.
It's like you can totally tap into that through the center point of your cells, through the center point of your DNA. This is the quantum multidimensional aspects we have. And so it was a big leap of faith, but it was a message. It wasn't a message. It was a remembrance. And I'm like, it just didn't keep going away. It was just living, and I felt really out of alignment if I wasn't to birth this. Did I have any idea what it would mean? No. But it got so ripe, it got so available in my remembrances that I had to at least give it a shot.
Yeah, and I
And
think
so,
those actionable steps that I want to like bring that up to the forefront, and you probably see most of this, but just for the viewers to piece this together, you can really see a woman here, Myra, who's spent her entire life collecting skills and pieces of her own puzzle and pooling them into one gift of resource to then share with the outer world, and that being business know-how. And we've got marketing skills that come into play, and we're talking about embodiment in motherhood and in sacred femininity, being in couples in a relationship with someone that is also, you know, you have to communicate with them to bring your vision to life, and actually receive the support and know how to ask for it in correct way. If there is, not that there's a wrong way, but there's a very subtle way that we can inspire masculine to take more action with the way that we're asking for things, and so on. So there's a lot of pieces here that are being touched to really show the full expression of Myra, and why I believe she's the perfect guest for Strategy and Soul, because we have a blend of all of those strategic, actionable pieces, like the study, the years of certification and understanding things to a depth, training. Like, she's trained in all of these things. It's not that it's all just been birthed out of, oh, well, I just know something, so now I'm going to sell something. This is deep embodiment and deep work through her own spiral of knowledge that she's then being able to now package up and gift to the world. So what do you have to say about that way that I would describe this, putting together your own puzzle and really aligning with all of the paths?
Oh, a deep trust in oneself, deeply. And I had to get so real and honest with myself and stop comparing myself to how others teach, what modalities they were using. Like, this is working the flame of personal power. So it's a tool that I teach, the threefolded flame of ascension. One path, divine love. One path, divine wisdom. And the third, where most people are terrified to go to, is the flame of divine power. Because a lot of us have a huge amount of power and we have to activate our voices. It's a very big evolutionary step. This is actually the step that takes us from the 3D, the third density, into the fifth density. Now, fifth dimensional living is housed at the foundation of the throat, because that is the fifth chakra in the body. So there's a huge amount of work. I'm telling, really, like, a lot of tears, a lot of frustration. I know.
I'm just nodding my head going, oh yeah, like my whole life has been one big integration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because in the past, we've been persecuted for the power that comes through our voices. So if you really want to build a fifth dimensional business that can hold the energetic architecture on which it is built upon, you have to know what's going on here. And it has to be so connected to your womb, the coccyx. Yeah, this is the top and the tail of the spine. This is the kundalini. These are both doorways at the top and base of the spine. No wonder I'm a doula as well. I've sat with birthing women. No wonder the baby comes out of the portal down there. And what does the midwife say? Relax your jaw. Relax your jaw. The
Breathe
inside
softly.
breathe this, because this needs to be relaxed and open. Because they're both so, you know what, Danica? They're on the same harmonic chord. That's why. The inside of the yoni mirrors the inside of your throat.
It's so divine, isn't it? That divine connection.
Exactly. It is. And you know what? Life and the universe leaves all these signatures. There's actually a roadmap. There's actually a roadmap. We're all wanting the ultimate guide to life.
It's literally inside of us. Literally and physically.
And it's all through nature. I work with seashells. This is one of my Lemurian paths, is I know how to read the messages and the medicine of seashells. Seashells have taught me so much about business, so much about energy. Yeah. The Fibonacci sequence, that beautiful golden spiral, that's why I talk about the golden path. It's where our purpose meets and unifies with divine proportion. The next level of my business and how I teach this to my clients is like, I'm now doing probably the opposite to 99% of people out there in the online space. Because there is actually a divine proportion that everyone here listening has an imprint. And if you can, like, harmonically begin to sit and reside in that, watch your life and business absolutely begin to flow and expand at a rate that is sustainable and long lasting.
And I think a lot of people, they desire to have these things, and then they can see that even in my own content, I talk about taking aligned action and stepping into this authentic self, the core frequency of who you are and what it is that you desire, and moving from there, regardless of how silly or crazy or any other story you want to make, deconditioning ourselves from the business landscape and the way things were done in the past. And all of this can still filter into our lives, but keeping on topic of the actual business. And going back a little bit into what are some tools and tips that you recommend people to be stepping into this kundalini and understanding the way their energy is flowing between their centers and really opening up to their personal power through their voice and speaking their truth. It's not just about making controversial content or repelling people through the way that you're sparking some type of conversation to get a reaction. We're not in our ego here when we're in our bodies. So do you have some actual tools and tips where you could say, all right, these are 2 things or 3 things that you should be doing today, that you could be doing and that you need to be doing, that are going to get you to that practical place of not only understanding it, but applying it in your business?
This is going to sound so simple. I know you'll be like, oh my God, did you just say that? I already know that. It's like we need to be reminded. Detach from the outside world. It is not yours to play in. It's not of your doing. The realm that you actually, I speak about, you become a CEO over your cellular structure. Step number 1, start going within. I pulled back from so much social media now because if you remember, like when online banking first came out, oh my God, you don't have to hop in the car and drive to the bank anymore. Oh my God, you don't have to stand in line and wait for the teller. We've forgotten the power of the internet. It's actually there to create our freedom and we've become addicted to it. So what I do now, get off your socials, actually get off. And I use social media to build my business. I have a very clear strategy, but I'm on the thing less than 3 days a week now. And when I am there, it's in a 30-minute block. It's intentional, it's deliberate, and then it's off.
Yeah.
It's complete opposite to what most people are saying. That's why most people are stressed out, caffeinated, addicted to the scroll, and they're not making nearly as much money as they perceive or think they are. So there's a big discord now between reality and perception. Social, it's perception. I'm like, what's the reality? And you have to be able to swallow that pill and be honest with yourself. How you get to that level of congruency within yourself is I meditate. Meditate. Go for walks. Connecting. I dunk myself in the ocean. I live walking distance to the ocean. This is my Lemurian portal and home. It sounds so simple, but you need to quieten the external noise. Dr. John Demartini teaches that. It's like the voice needs to become inside the one that overpowers all of the cacophony of the symphony of all of that external noises. And people are scared to do this step because they think they're not going to be productive. How can you switch off, come so deeply within, and that actually be the most highly effective, potent, productive move you can make? I'm like, watch me.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh, am I moving the needle forward? Did I go live enough times this week? Have I planned out the next? And I'm like, the beauty of a pen and paper, for me, it's journaling, it's songwriting, it's poetry, it's expressing my soul frequency onto a piece of paper. I'm not one to take notes and have digital to-do lists everywhere. And while that is a massive part of my business based on the strategic elements and communicating with my clients, but in my personal life, and that includes my business, because my business is very personal to me, of course, it's a massive part of my identity as well. But shifting into the identity of just Danica Rose, that is the work, that is the core. And I love that you're speaking into that, because a lot of people will step into comparisonitis, what they also call about imposter syndrome, and all of these made up terms that we then identify ourselves with. Oh, I must be on the precipice of a burnout. And I'm like, yeah, but said who? Where are we getting this and collecting this repetitive information and embodying that and ingraining those other people's thoughts, the way that they describe something and the messaging that they use, which then becomes an industry standard or an industry trend. And then we embody that as opposed to embodying our core frequency. So thank you for bringing that up. I also am a big advocate for not consuming other people's content. And I do that strategically. If I'm going and looking at someone's content, and what I recommend to anybody listening, if you're in your business mind and you are the CEO, as Myra said, of your own frequency and your energy, and we are the CEO of our business blueprint, we are responsible for how our energy is distributed before we are responsible for the natural byproduct, which is the strategy. Those things fall into place once we get to our core first. And part of that is lack of consumption and only consuming for the sake of strategic market research. That's all it is. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be, well, I mustn't know enough, so I'm going to sit here for an hour today, every day, and have a look how everyone else is doing it, and then compare, and then look at another expert and another expert and another expert, and then write down all of these massive lists, save all of these posts in my feed, and then I'm not going to actually be moving the needle forward, because how many hours are we spending on this deep self-work? And sometimes for me that might take a 3-hour session, and I allow space in my schedule for that, because I know that when I'm so encompassed in myself and it's not about being self-absorbed, it's about being self-aware. And when I'm so acutely aware of misalignment, it's so easy to tweak things. Like, how simple does this make business when we just tap into that knowing inside of ourselves?
Yeah. And on the other
side, it gets to be
side,
easy.
yes. And so on the other side of complexity is simplicity. And that is the mastery of that inner blueprint within. It's the mastery over your energetic systems. And what you've just described is sometimes such a huge waste of energy.
Yeah.
It's just no wonder so many business owners are so overwhelmed. And it's like, it's that strategy. And it's like, you're not one strategy away from that, whatever it is, 50K month that you want. Or you're not one strategy away. You actually need to pull back and get so strongly intimate with who you are. And I want to speak about when you said, oh, you're like one course away, or you need further study. This is what I'm finding now with the information I'm getting, is that the DNA, if you can go through the multidimensional portals of your DNA, you access your Akashic records. Your Akashic records are the greatest library you have to yourself. It is your own stories. You've lived every single one of them. So people are now going, oh, but I need to study this, I need to study that. And it's like a long list
of expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying don't study those things, because those modalities were written in a frequency that we're no longer playing in that energetic field. I said, if you had the confidence, or just the curiosity, even not even confidence, just curiosity, to go into your Akashic records, you would come across sound healing modalities. You would know how to work with crystals. You would know how to sing, how to whatever it is that you've already lived that. So rather than seeking outside of yourselves all the time for the newest trend, go within, access these remembrances. And I'm like, I want to know personally, what is it in your skill set, in your magnificent past lives that aren't past lives that you've lived? Bring that through. This is called quantum jumping now. So it's like, rather than thinking these are fantastical ideas, there's actually a mechanics to how all of these pieces begin to fit together. And they just interface together like computer programs interface. And it's just like, I'm the player in my reality now, and I'm holding the control panel.
I love it.
This is the motherboard.
And I always talk about, like, if you are feeling like you're overwhelmed, overstimulated, essentially your hard drive is full, and you need to remove that disk space to create the space to have capacity to actually take on more information and remember. It's like restoring from your previous backup, essentially. And I talk about that a lot as well. I love it. It's such an easy analogy.
It's so easy. Our hard drives, fantastic.
Right? We've only got a certain amount of memory that our physical body can actually contain. And instead of believing that that is restriction, and it can be infinite, but what does have to happen is we need to be pulling apart those parts of ourselves that are clunky, that are slowing down the memory, things that are no longer serving us, and be unworking and deprogramming and removing with awareness. And I think that's where some people get stuck in that healing cycle. They're like, oh, there's another thing, so I'm going to shame and judge myself, and I'm going to sit here for 6 months and make myself feel bad, and then I'm going to invest in another person that can help me heal that, as opposed to just making a decision that it can be as simple as, I know the thing, and I have, as you said, the curiosity, and the universe is going to start showing up for you and backing up those stories, whether they're positive or negative. It doesn't matter. You will see evidence. Things will start to show up for you, and you'll gain new insights and awareness, and people will flow into your life, and you'll get these opportunities and be like, okay. And this is where the pieces really can start to come together. So it's such an amazing conversation. Can you explain to us a little bit about your offers, or if there's any freebies that people can jump into before we wrap up the episode today? Like how do you actually share that magic in these tangible offers? Obviously, Sunshine Coast, amazing temple. I couldn't remember which day of the week it was, but your husband and yourself co-facilitate these experiences where other light workers can come and sit and do grid work and set intentions, from my understanding. But please do explain what it is that you actually offer to the world now.
I'm happy to. So temple nights are new moon nights. So just it changes from month to month. So new moon, that is facilitated by me. That's a women only event. My husband is a full body channel. So he has his own little connection and Facebook page that you can book into. But yeah, the one-on-one offerings now are 16 weeks, and I work close proximity. So this is really about the unification of the ascension, someone activating and igniting their soul's highest mission, right? So we have a shadow, we have a life path, and we have the soul's highest mission. It's the whole reason you come here to accomplish what it is that you've come to do. So I'm marrying that now with enterprise. And so my strategy is actually really simple. It's very simple. I spend a lot less time online now. I'm using my Facebook page. I team that up with YouTube and an email list. And I'm just really helping people with their one core offer of bringing their sacred abilities, healing abilities, but I support that with a very strong foundation of the inner energetic architecture. Yeah. So then you just start making lots and lots of money, monthly recurring revenue with people you love, doing what you love, spending more time offline. And actually, it's a beautiful thing. I remembered this tool that I teach, the Heart's Prayer. And it's so many businesses are built from head hypnosis, from a lack. I lack this, therefore I'm seeking my dad's approval, therefore I'll build a big business. The new frequencies of the new earth are not going to support that at all. And so the Heart's Prayer says, I deserve my truest heart's desires. Yeah, who and where I am is perfect. This, I'm cultivating fulfillment here, wholeness. I'm ready for my next step. And the fourth line to the prayer is, fulfillment is here and now. Danica, there is no bigger and better moment than what we're having right now.
I feel that sometimes I just get like massive waves of tears and this the emotions of it when I connect with God, and I connect with that infinite frequency of just knowing, oh wow. And it could be as simple as a bird flying by. It could be anything. It's like sometimes you just walk out the door and then you get this massive breeze on your face and you're like, whoa, like I'm here. I just arrived. And you get these moments like every single day you just arrive, and then you get to the next conversation and you just arrive, and then you do the next thing and you're like, I just arrived. And there's nothing more exciting than having that beginning again feeling. And I love it. Yeah.
So most people are building their businesses thinking when they get the high cash month that they're going to feel better and bigger and more significant in that moment. You won't be, I assure you. If you can build your business from wholeness, from knowing that you're a divine spark of God consciousness, that you're actually whole and perfect and content and fulfilled in this moment right now, and stop kidding yourself that you think that you're going to be happier, more significant, more fulfilled in that future moment. It doesn't exist. It is now. So now I build businesses and my life from such a different energetic architecture. And it takes a little bit to just warm up to that. It takes a bit of guidance. It takes someone who's gone before you that can hold your hand and just go, wait for it. Be patient. Because I have to talk to your head sedation.
Yeah, and it's
The
that trust
sedation,
building.
yeah. And that is your golden path. You've always been on it. It's just the matrix wants to bamboozle you over the top and steamroll you out of your magnificence, out of your divinity, out of your light. So I was like, whoa, okay, I'm getting the rules of the game now. When you
Yeah.
understand the parameters to the computer program, it's like you can start hacking in a
Yeah.
good way, in a
Once
good
you
way.
learn that, like, manipulating of energy is the only reason why we're here. And we're manipulating it for conscious expansion. We're manipulating it for our communities that we're growing, and we're manipulating the energy within so it is without. And people get that very twisted at times. So I really love that you've been able to offer clarity on really tangible things that they can say. And I will be putting that prayer, if that's okay for you, to put in the description. If
I'd
not,
love
that's
to.
also okay. But I think it's nice when people can consume that in written word, because those codes really sink in when we're speaking from our heart. And that's where it resonates. And that is the magnetism that people are looking for in all of these marketing fandangles. And if I say this thing in that particular way, and I'm like, if you just say it how you would say it, that is the magnet. And so you're just brilliant at showing up as true self. And I really adore that about you. I think there's something to be said for someone that's not invested in the inner workings of the industry and speaking out against this. And so, yeah, consuming your content is also a pleasure. And it's with such grace that you present the things that you do, because it's very obvious that that's from having all of these trials and errors and going through all the shadows and creating that masculine containment for yourself and your business. So I love it. I'm so glad you were a guest. And if everybody loved the episode, reach out to Myra you're on Instagram, YouTube, you've got your Facebook. Have you got
Easiest
something?
way to connect is just find my personal profile page on Facebook. That's
Sweet.
where, keep it really simple. Send me a
Love
DM
it.
there.
And
Yeah.
I've got all the links as well. That'll be down in the descriptions below. So feel free to leave us a review. They're always very helpful to get feedback. And as you know how algorithms work, leave them star reviews, get us out there. And then, yeah, if you need any extra support, contact Myra or myself. And we're all about that new paradigm business. So thank you so much, Myra. This was awesome.
My absolute pleasure. Sending so much love to you and your community. Congratulations.
Thanks.